Hi, I'm Mary Beth Lynn, your systems and delegation coach, and I love getting to help travel advisors go from overwhelmed to being in control CEOs. I have a bunch of free resources for you as you go through Prep for Wave Week. You can scan the QR code or text the number below. I want to send you a couple really awesome things that are going to help you not be overwhelmed when the wave hits.
Running a travel business can be overwhelming, but imagine if there was a single tool that helped you look professional, stay organized, was easy to use, and affordable. That's just what Travefy does. Travefy gives you the essential tools you need to look like a travel biz pro. Travefy is the most trusted system used by over 30,000 travel brands worldwide. So get started with a system that helps you get back to the joy of planning travel and run your travel business like a pro with Travefy.
Hello and welcome. I can't believe this is year 5, Rita. So congrats for your commitment and dedication to our industry. I always find your events valuable, whether it's Prep for Wave Week, some of the tech podcasts. Thank you for having me back again this year. So I love talking money, finances. It's one of my favorite things to do, and I'm here presenting to my favorite people, my fellow travel advisors. So we have 25 to 30 minutes, and obviously, this can be a large topic. We do not have time to cover it all, but we're focusing on Rise, become the CFO that your travel business needs and deserves. So think of this like an iceberg, and we're going to touch the tippy top of it today, what's part of what's above the water, but there's a lot of things that go down underneath that we normally don't see. So my intention today is to not only educate, it's to inspire and create a new desire for you, an excitement and even a new courage to take this further. So if you walk away with one action step today, to me, that's progress. Really quick introduction. You can read through this. I've been in the travel industry since 2006. So yes, it's been a while. But by education, I'm an accountant. I have my CPA license in the state of Oklahoma, and I'm a professed numbers geek. If you don't understand something about numbers, I can probably help you figure it out. Love spreadsheets. Numbers and spreadsheets are literally my love language. And of course, I'm in the travel industry, so yes, I love travel. That's for those of you who we haven't met yet and you want to know a little bit of a background on why I'm here. I think this is probably like year 3-ish of the 5, maybe more, that I've participated in Prep for Wave Week. A few disclaimers before we start moving forward. Again, I want you to get something out of this, but it's not intended to be specific advice as a CFO, CPA, financial advisor, all of those things. I'm just looking for new ways to share with you so that you can have a more positive relationship with your finances. So let's take a look at 2 extremes in the industry, and these are the extremes. Keep that in mind. Both of these exist, and there's thousands of variations in between. And as we know, there's not one specific way to do business or operate in travel. A variety of models exist, and more are replacing the traditional travel agency ways of the past. So we have someone who may come in as a hobby, and it's an industry that's prone to attracting people who might want to supplement their income or work part-time or build up until they're ready to retire. And then this becomes their retirement job, business, hobby, whichever way they decide to take it. And then we have those who are coming in because they're already left their career and they need to replace the income, and it's go time to make this business thriving and successful and replacing the pay that they walked away from. So if we get real for a minute, I know you didn't show up here just to dabble. You tuned in I'm assuming, to take something away that will help you improve in some area of your business and possibly even in your life. But are you actually running a business, or are you treating this or still treating this like a hobby? And there are differences. And honestly, your money knows the truth. So let's start talking to our money. Let's start listening to our money and having that conversation. Because even if you haven't admitted it or said it out loud, running a business means that you're leading in multiple ways. You're leading your business, you're leading your money, you're leading your intentions, and you're leading your goals. And staying in hobby mode, that's reacting and hoping it works out. So, no judgment. It's just a check in, and take a few minutes to reflect on that and make a decision point out of this. Do you find yourself, when it comes to a hobby, are you falling into the left side of this slide or the right side? And you can come back and screenshot these and read through to see, but there are distinct differences that lead to the shift. And until you have systems and structures and the leadership and ownership over your money in particular, then you may not be running a business. You're probably reacting to what's happening in this business. So, this session is about getting you across the line if that's where you want to be, not just getting better with numbers, but becoming the kind of business owner who knows what to do with those numbers, who leads with intention and stops guessing. A business without structure could just be a hobby with a pile of receipts. And a business without processes, and a business without a valid plan or commitment or intention, you can replace that word with whatever resonates with you most. But there's something behind it that takes it beyond being a hobby. Let's go through what you may have heard or been told. And this could have come from your host agency, other travel advisors, general business owners, Google. It doesn't matter where. What really matters is if you believe these, and then it influences the way you operate and perform in your business. So these are four very common ones that I hear quite often. And we can go through and I can provide arguments against each one of these in respect to how it may be hurting you as a travel business owner. And not that you don't need to do some of these, but the way we look at them, when we shift that to a new belief or take it a step further, then these pieces become more valuable. So the biggest one is I'm keeping track of my numbers and my quote books only for taxes. Correct. That needs to happen. There are compliance and tax responsibilities that need to happen, but why not capitalize on that and create a system that makes it useful to you first and yet still satisfies the tax and reporting obligations? And we're not going to go through each one of these, but relying on your accountant to do it all for you, your accountant is not making the financial day-to-day financial decisions in your business. They're probably not even guiding you in that direction unless you have a special relationship or extended relationship that you're paying them to help do that. And then we think about a bank balance. A bank balance is one single point in time. It's the accumulation of everything that's come into and gone out of that account from the start. That's what you're looking at. And it's really difficult to get solid data to make decisions on based on that one number. So if you're logging into your app and seeing what's there every day, it's probably not giving you useful information. And if you're making decisions by what you see currently, you're not taking into consideration what's coming. You're only looking at what's happened. What they're not telling you, or what you haven't been told is you need to have that clarity, the confidence around your numbers to have that clear path to the profit and pay that you're looking for, that I hope you're looking for. Do you know what the biggest threat to a small business is? And I'm not talking about just travel agencies, I'm talking about all small businesses. And this probably goes around the world, not just the United States. It's not profit, because technically profit is on paper, and profit in itself does not pay the expenses or the bills. It's cash and cash flow. And in this industry, it's even more important to not get over focused on top line sales and commission, but also manage everything before it gets into your pocket. Because we know that when you open a business and you start, you're not earning commission, meaning deposited into your bank commission on day one. It takes a while for that to build up and to start flowing through steadily. So we have to make a plan around this. And the number piece, I wish and I hope that it will come into play sooner so that we don't get to a point where you're struggling with cash flow and then it's just this out of control spiral. There's a hidden cost behind the scenes, and it's not just about the money, because there's way more to this business than the money. We all come into it for a variety of reasons, but it takes time, commitment, sacrifices. It's not just signing up, paying a fee to join a host agency and instant success. You all know that, especially if you've been in here for a little bit or a long time. And this unawareness and possibly avoidance or maybe unknowing doesn't just hurt your profit and the cash available for you to pay yourself. It's draining your energy, it drains your time, and it potentially crushing your dreams. I know I had dreams when I started almost 20 years ago, and I still have dreams today. And there are certain things that I want my business to be able to do for me in my life. And I'm assuming you do too. Paying attention and taking the steps to learn a little bit more about the money side and not focus specifically on selling and learning new destinations can take you or potentially take you to a whole new level that you probably didn't even know existed. So you've built the foundation and now it's time to rise. And before we go into the rise side, let's just review some of the foundations. We may have some people on here who are new or newer and probably wondering, what are my foundations? Like, what should I have? So when we talk about a foundation, it's the solid footing that we build everything else upon. And if we're thinking of building a house, the foundation itself is not the house. It's what we build the house on. And the foundation is really just the beginning, but that's where most travel advisors stop. You can read through these, but the biggest one I want to call out on the foundation side is separate bank accounts. We need a way for you to easily see what's happening specifically with your business. And when we start compartmentalizing our money, meaning we have a separate bank account and a separate credit card just for business, it takes out the element that it's combined with our personal. So we look in one place, everything's there, and we can make better decisions because we don't have to go hunting around and figuring out, is that Amazon charge? Was that for my business or did I buy something for the house? Do yourself a favor, and if you're not operating this way, let that be the one thing that you take out of this session today. So very quickly, and let's do maybe a little bit of assessment. I don't want to spend a lot of time here, but I came up with this visual during Financial Literacy Month, and I think it helped several travel advisors when we were reviewing some basics and shifting some perspectives. So I really see these four levels, and I don't consider avoiding the numbers a level because as a business owner, you need to be doing something. And I'm sure you're not really avoiding. You're probably just not giving it the attention that it deserves when it comes to the finances. The bottom two levels are more of like compliance. These are keeping you anchored in the past. And we're trying to get to a CFO level and focus on the future. We're looking at the top two levels. So it's almost like a rite of passage. We need to start at the bottom to get to the top. And I know that sounds like a lot of work, but it really isn't. It's a journey in systems and habits and the little technology and somebody guiding us will help you get up to the top level rather quickly. Mindset, and you can think about this in other areas of your business, mindset is the system behind every system. If we are not believing in it, if we don't think it's necessary, then we're probably not going to do it. With mindset, it's this narrative that's running on autopilot. It's our beliefs that are so ingrained that we don't even realize they're happening or even think that they could possibly be harmful. So think of your morning routine. Is it on autopilot? Pretty much, right? Sometimes I think, did I start my coffee pot? And I did, but I'm so used to doing it that I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. And that happens a lot in all areas, not just in our business, in our life. So we want to come up with ways that we can start recognizing when this autopilot is happening and it's something that's not really helping us. And it's an awareness mechanism. It's not very easy at first, but once you start noticing it, it comes up easier and easier, and you're able to notice things more and more. The one thing that stuck with me, I learned from an online creator, and I've borrowed this, so it's not my original thought. But when you start noticing like you're not feeling positive or you're feeling a little icky, it's probably a thought you had that created the emotion and the feeling. And her thing was when this narrative is going on in your head, we catch it when it's happening. And this is where it'll become easier and easier as you keep doing it. And we literally tell ourselves to cancel. You can say it out loud. You can, if you have a buzzer, hit a buzzer. I don't know. I have a timer on my desk, so I could probably hit that. And then we correct it. We replace it with an empowering thought. So we're moving from the negative, disempowering to something that's empowering and helping us move forward. Just remember, you don't need to be judgmental of yourself. We're not criticizing, putting ourselves down, or anything like that. We're making ourselves better. And a different mentor of mine always says, nothing has any meaning other than the meaning you give it. So don't give any meaning to this other than we're helping ourselves to be better people and better business owners. We're removing the next roadblock that's in the way, and we'll come up to another one and we'll have to remove that one. It's a very simple process on paper, but something that takes a little bit of practice over and over. So if you want, as one of your takeaways, take a sticky note or a piece of paper and write that down, catch, cancel, correct. Have it somewhere on your desk where you can easily see it, and it'll click a little bit faster when you start sliding into those negative spirals. Now let's talk about CFO. Three little letters. A little scary for most people. And most of you shy away from it for a variety of reasons. Maybe you feel it doesn't apply to me. That's not my job. I don't want to do it. I don't care to do it. I don't like numbers. I hate math. All of the different reasons, I've heard them. They're valid because you're saying it to yourself. So let's start with the catch, cancel, correct when some of these start coming up. And I know those letters can feel intimidating, but I'm making something a little different out of them. And hopefully, this will help you to see it in a different light. C stands for claim. So claim this as your responsibility as a business owner. You're doing it for you. You're doing it for your family and you're doing it for your clients. Longevity, sustainability, that's what the goal is here. And we need to take responsibility for this area of our business and our life in order for our goals, our dreams, and everything else that you have on your vision board, dream board to become reality. Focus. So the F, we're going to focus on what matters the most. And this means what moves the needle the most in your business. So what gets you to reaching those goals the easiest, the fastest, and in a way that feels most aligned. And it's going to look different for everybody, but we want to come up with what those things are and build a system around it, a way to review and make sure that we're still on the right track. And then own. So we're owning the outcome. And when I say this, the financial results as the outcome. We do this again by claiming, by focusing on what matters, and by owning the outcome based on specific goals, intentions, direction that we set and we put in motion. So now we have a little chicken or egg situation. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Does confidence come first or does consistency? And I feel like consistency does. Many times in life, we push against or we don't want to do something because it feels uncomfortable. But when you're doing something that you're confident in or you can breeze through it, it's a little bit easier to say yes. Think of a baby taking their first steps. They're learning this. They don't have the confidence to start walking, but they're going to try it anyway. And they're going to be persistent and determined. And they're going to get better at it and learn how to do it. And now they're confident, right? They don't even think about it. I don't think about putting one foot in front of the other anymore. I just do it. This can be exactly the same. So put your mind back when you were a child, maybe learning to ride a bike, some memory you might remember more than taking your first steps, or starting in the travel industry. Were you confident in the steps and the mechanics of your first travel booking? Or did you have to muddle through it with some guidance, some hand holding, some encouragement? And then you began to do it again and again, and it got easier and easier. And now you're more confident. Even now, as an experienced agent, it becomes easier to come up against challenges because you already have the confidence built as part of your foundation. So that's what we're doing when it comes to numbers. Repetition is the mother of all learning. And we're working on a money system, a money routine, money guidelines, money awareness, money knowledge, all of these things. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's really not. And once you get this in place and you have guidelines, boundaries, processes, and you know what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and what software or tech you're using to do it, it can become almost autopilot. And why do we do this? Because you do want to get paid. And I don't mean or not referring to getting paid the commission. I'm referring to paying yourself from your business, a bank to bank transfer, which means there's enough cash sitting there to be able to do that. And that's what we're building towards, something that supports a bigger vision of yours, whether it's supporting your family, contributing to the household, putting your child through college, saving for retirement. There's so many things that paying yourself can add to your life. That's why we are doing that. Let's review the path to lead your business forward. We've already talked about most of these. Claim, focus, own. So we're claiming your role, focusing on what matters most, owning the outcome that are aligned and connected to not just our business goals, but our personal goals, putting systems in place, getting away from looking at the past, which is bookkeeping, even though that is important and it needs to be done. We're not stopping there. We're looking forward. So we're looking for those leading indicators that will tell us, are we on the right path or not? And then repeat. We're being consistent. We're being determined. We're doing it over and over again. Stick to the process. Trust the plan. Barbecue sauce. There's your secret word or words. This is the belief piece. So some of the mindset coming in, believing in your ability to see this through. That even if you think you can't, you can. And I'm going to tell you where this comes from. If you're a Ted Lasso fan, you already know. But if you're not, there was an episode in Ted Lasso, and it's not anything about barbecue sauce. It was about proving that consistency builds confidence, skills, and belief. And the same can go true for your money habits. So if you haven't seen it or you want to rewatch it, go ahead and Google Ted Lasso dart scene, and you'll have a full understanding of what this is all about. Be curious, not judgmental. Also, a part of that dart scene with barbecue sauce, which really isn't barbecue sauce. It's an original quote by Walt Whitman, but I heard it in Ted Lasso. I want to remind you to don't not judge yourself for what you don't know, what you didn't know, what you didn't do, what you're not doing. Instead, get curious about how you can get better, curious to figure out the next step on your path. How can you start acting like a CFO today? The first thing you can do, and I know it will take you less than 5 minutes to do this, open up your calendar, whatever calendar you use, Google, Outlook, doesn't matter. Pick a date, pick a time, block off at least 30 minutes to look at your money. Really look, even if it's just combing through a bank statement or a credit card statement or looking at the balances or what items are coming up next that you still have to pay for. Take 30 minutes. So you don't have to do that today, but set the time on your calendar today and honor that time. Then when you're doing it, I want you to choose the one thing that you've been avoiding and face it. No matter what it feels like, let that go. Remember, nothing has any meaning other than the meaning you give it. We're not going to give it any meaning other than you're getting better. You're showing courage. You're taking a step forward. Let it mean that. And then start asking yourself before every decision in your business, just do a pause. What would a CFO do? Think of somebody who's like a gatekeeper of the money. What would they do? What questions would they ask you? What things would they want to know before they turn that money over to you to go buy something to spend on a new thing in your business? That question alone can change how you operate. It can change what you believe, the decisions you make, the actions you take. Now, at the bottom, I have a few things listed. If you want a little extra help, especially between middle of October to the end of the year, join me in Done by December. This is a brand new thing I'm trying out, but I want travel advisors to tie up all their loose ends financially before the end of the year. We're slated to be done by December 15th. It's a group event starting in mid-October to mid-December where I offer accountability, action, guidance, and a combination of things you'll do on your own. I'll email it to you. You might have a video to watch to get you started. And then we have co-working sessions. That's where the real accountability comes in, because you're going to come and join me and we're going to work. And if you have a question, you're going to ask the questions and I'm going to help you through it. And if you haven't tracked any of your numbers for 2025, then I'm including a simple tracking spreadsheet with formulas already done to remove that roadblock. And all you need to do is put your numbers in there. I'll give you instructions on how to do it. So at least that piece can be moved out of the way. You also will get a ticket, it's a virtual ticket, to my annual profit planning workshop. That is a CFO level activity, and we're really going to dive in. And we're going to dive in a little bit deeper and a little bit differently than I have in the past. If you've been to one of mine before, this will be a little bit different. But again, wherever we have to calculate numbers, I will make sure that you have a template with formulas already in it so that you don't have to create these yourself. The real gist is I'm pushing you to get the past money activities off of your plate before you go into wave season and already have a plan in place so that you know what your goals are, at least for the first 90 days of 2026. That will keep you focused with intention. So there's that. If you don't want to join, you can always schedule a one-on-one mentor coaching session, all of the stuff. And then I have a few other things up my sleeve coming out between now and the end of the year. So keep your eye out for that. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, Rita, for having me once again. I hope each and every one of you got at least one thing, hopefully more, but one thing that you are going to take action on in the next week. And here's my contact information. This is where you can find me. If you're not already in my Facebook group called the First Class Profit Lounge, all of these links will be below. So join me there. The profit power-ups have started back now that I have a child, adult child, off in college, and they're every Friday at 11 a.m. Central. So I hope to see you there. I hope to see many of you in done by December so that we can make some good progress and headway for you and get things off of your plate and make wave season as successful as possible. Thank you again.